Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Meta. Now, in this episode, we are going to be working on the punch animation and we're going to blend it in depending on whether the player is walking or whether he's seated or rather standing in one place. So, standing in one place isn't too much of a problem. It does exactly what it's expected to do. But when you're running, the feet are basically, just doing the punch animation's feet and, and I want you to notice the punch animation carefully, right? The player turns to the right and then slams. Now, usually what we do is we disable input and we'd basically let the animation complete and then we'd enable input again, right? We'd just stop the character immediately and have him do this. But because we want it to be enabled, or rather we want to be able to have the character punching while he's running, we have to make some modifications to this. But the problem is, the way the animation is structured, right? And if you watch the animation one more time, you'll see that he moves his entire body to the right, including his hips, his legs, everything's moving to the right for a second before he punches, right? So that's going to be a problem, and I'll show you as we get into this why it's going to be a problem, and I'll tell you how we work around that. Cool. So let's open our Delhi animations again, and in our punch animation, we've got the hook and we've got the output animation pose. Now what I want to do is I want to take the top half of the character, have him punching, and I want the bottom half to respect the blend space. So we've got this blend space of walking and running here, and we'll feed it the speed and the direction. Alright, so we'll feed the direction here, and we'll feed the speed here. Alright, so this is what we want to do, and we want to output this, but as you can see, we're only able to do one at the time. So what we want to do is we're going to look at the character's skeleton for a second. So this is the character which I've opened, and we're in his skeleton tree. You can just click on skeleton tree here. You can see all the bones that are associated, right? Like I told you, there are many different bones, and one of the bones that I think we should blend this over is maybe the spinal bone, right? Let's just zoom in on and see where this is. This is what the spinal bone is. This is the start point of the bone, and maybe having the top half, which is everything above the spine bone, do the punch animation, and everything below the spine bone do the run animation. Maybe that will make a lot of sense, right? So that's what we're going to do first, and the way to do it is using this new node called layered blend per bone, right? Layered blend per bone basically allows you to have two different animations that are blended based on a particular bone, right? So I'm going to take the blend space animation, that's the base pose, and the blend pose 0 will be the hook punch, right? And we're just going to connect this. And one thing I need to do in the layered blend per bone is I need to select or create a new branch filter. I need to create a new bone, and we'll call this bone, what is the bone here? Exact same bone, spine. Let's just call it spine, and let's give it a blend depth of 1. Right? Blend depth is, how much below the spine do we want to look at, and we want to look at everything below the spine, so 1. Right? So this should work, and one more thing we should do is we should select mesh space rotation, otherwise, weird stuff happens. So now when I press play, and I'm running, and I press the punch button, as you can see, he's running and punching. Right? You see it? And it obviously works when he's stable too. But you've already started seeing the problem, which is when he's running, the spine twists too much. The mesh is twisting to an extent where it looks quite odd. And that's the problem with the animation itself, because the entire player turns to the right in the punch animation, it just looks very weird. Which is why this animation that we used, this hook punch animation that we used, is a good animation to use using disable input. You might want to disable input, stop all the other animations and have it, because blending this is very, very, very difficult, because he moves his entire body and the character ends up twisting, and you can see the twist quite, it doesn't look so good, right? It's quite weird. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to Mixamo, and we're going to look for a punch that doesn't require too much of the lower body movement, right? So let's look at this punch for a second. This seems like a punch, seems like a reasonable punch where the lower body won't move too much, and even if it moves, it's not going to twist the spine too much, right? Look at the spine, it doesn't twist too much. So I'm going to download this without skin, of course. Preparing this punch. This is a simple punch. Obviously it doesn't have the kind of impact or the momentum that the other punch does, and there are plenty of punches here for you to play with. Maybe something that doesn't move the body too much, This will definitely move the spine too much because he's moving to the right. But let's see. Let's open this. What's that? Punching 1. Downloads. Punching 1. And let's pull this into Unreal. Alright. Import. It's imported quite flawlessly. We'll remove this and we'll use punching 1 as the blend pose and the blend space here. Alright, so let's play. And as you can see, the spine doesn't twist too much. Right? There is still a little bit of a twist, but it's acceptable. It doesn't look like the guy is going crazy. And you can see that one thing that we've done is that this punch is a much shorter punch than the other one. Let's see how long this is. This is 1.033 seconds. So let's change what we had there. 1.033, I think that's what it was. It's 1.033. Yes, this is 1.033. Compile and save. And yeah, this should be easy. Bam. Bam. Right, so this looks cool, and at the same time, I think we've managed to pull off a good punch here. So this is really good, and I just wanted to show you the layered blend per bone, and how some animations just simply won't work well with layered blend per bone, and the main reason they won't work well is because they twist some part of the body. Now you can obviously play around with this, and I want to actually show you what it's like to play around with this. So instead of spine, I could have just done spine 2, which is very upper body. So spine 2, let me just show you what that looks like. Compile and save, and it will only blend everything above. You see that? It's not going to even move the spine at all. So this is an even more accurate kind of no twisting the spine punch. So everything above spine 2, which is somewhere near just below that hoodie of his, that hood of his, is where the spine will get, or where the animations will get blended. And obviously it is much more perfect than just having the spine. Alright guys, so that's it. That's all I wanted to talk to you about in this episode. In the next episode, let's actually make the punch deal some damage. Bye-bye.